Elen Silla Lumen Omentilvo. Today I bring to you all the legend of Galadriel. Galadriel was born in 1362 of the Years of the Trees in Valinor. She was the youngest child of Finarfin and his only daughter. Galadriel was immensely beautiful, and her hair is said to have caught the light of the two trees in its strands. It was Galadriel's hair that gave Feanor the idea to make the Silmarils. Feanor would ask Galadriel 3 times for one strand of her hair, but each time she denied her uncle, for Galadriel had a gift of looking into the hearts and minds of someone, and seeing their purity and intentions, and she saw darkness within Feanor. She was proved right by him, for after Morgoth killed Finwë and stole the Silmarils, Galadriel watched as Feanor spoke about bringing war to Morgoth and reclaiming the Silmarils, and to set kingdoms in Middle-earth where the Ñoldor can rule. These last words stayed in Galadriel's heart, and she yearned for her own realm. She would join her uncle Fingolfin's host, again not trusting Feanor, and growing to despise him after the kinslaying at Alcalonde, for it was her mother's kin slain in this terrible battle. There is another account where Galadriel and her love Celeborn would fight against Feanor's elves at Alcalonde, though this account seems unlikely as Celeborn would still be in Middle-earth in most writings. Because of Galadriel's disgust, she would not join Feanor's host that stole the ships and journeyed to Loskar. Galadriel, determined like her kin, pressed on and took the Helcaraxe, which took a great toll on the Ñoldor. With the rising of the sun and the true beginning of the First Age, Galadriel and the Ñoldor entered Middle-earth. Galadriel would live in the Sindarin realm Doriath, where her grand-uncle Thingol ruled. Thingol's wife, Melian, who was a Maya, would mentor Galadriel in the many ways of being a queen, passing on wisdom and knowledge to her. It was in this time that Galadriel met Celeborn, and the two would fall in love. Galadriel spent much time traveling between Doriath and Nargothrond, where her oldest brother Finrod ruled. Melian, in her conversations with Galadriel, realized the Ñoldor were hiding something. Galadriel would thus reveal the Silmarils and the exile of the Ñoldor, but she made no mention of the kinslayings. Thingol would summon the children of Finarfin to him, and in that meeting all was revealed of the kinslayings and the journey of the Helcaraxe. Galadriel, once Nargothrond was built, lived in the realm. At some point after Morgoth broke through the siege of Angband, Galadriel and Celeborn would depart over the arid Luin to escape from the turmoil in Beleriand and to raise up defenses in the east. There they would stay until the War of Wrath, the war where Morgoth was at last overthrown by the Valar. Many of the Ñoldor would be invited back by the Valar, but Galadriel would not be one, for in her heart she still desired power over her own realm, and the Valar would ban her from Valinor. In these years Galadriel and Celeborn wed, and Galadriel gave birth to a daughter, Celebrian. They lived in Har Lindon, with Celeborn ruling as a vassal for Gil-galad. Galadriel sensed the growing darkness in Middle-earth, and so they wandered Middle-earth, dwelling near Lake Evendim for a time, before coming to reside in Eregion, the realm of Celebrimbor. In the year 1200, Eregion was visited by Annatar, the Lord of Gifts. Galadriel would not trust Annatar, for while he claimed to be a servant of Aule, Galadriel sensed darkness within him. Annatar would turn the elves against Galadriel, for Galadriel would scoff at Annatar, but he only ever appeared friendly. Galadriel would thus depart Eregion, heading for Lindoranand, with Celebrian, through the passages of Khazad-dûm. Here Celeborn was separated from his family, for he distrusted the dwarves and stayed in Eregion. In 1600, Galadriel's misgivings about Annatar were proved correct, as Annatar was revealed to be Sauron, the lieutenant of Morgoth. Celebrimbor came to Galadriel for guidance, as under Sauron's tutelage, Celebrimbor crafted the Rings of Power. Galadriel advised that the three rings, Narya, Nenya, and Vilya, be hidden so Sauron could not find them. Celebrimbor then gave Galadriel Nenya. The war of the elves and Sauron had begun. Eregion would be sacked, Celebrimbor killed, and the 16 greater rings taken, but Sauron would never find the three. After Sauron's defeat at the Battle of the Gwathlo, Gil-galad summoned the wisest and most powerful elves to Rivendell to form the First White Council. In Rivendell, Galadriel and Celeborn would reunite, and they would roam the lands of Middle-earth once more. Galadriel and Celeborn would seemingly play little to no role in the War of the Last Alliance, but when the war was won and Sauron no longer wore his one ring, Galadriel was now free to wear hers and use it for good. Celebrian would marry Elrond in 109 of the Third Age, and soon afterwards Galadriel and Celeborn would welcome their grandchildren, Elladan and Elrohir and Arwen. Not all was well, however, for a shadow fell over the forest of Greenwood, and many would begin calling the woods Mirkwood. 5 beings appeared in Middle-earth at this time. Old men they seemed, but they were not so, for they were Maiar, come to Middle-earth in the guises of old men. Galadriel would form a friendship with Gandalf the Grey, the last of the wizards to arrive. The shadow in Mirkwood continued to grow, and the wise, including Galadriel, would believe it to be one of the Nazgul. In 1981, Durin's Bane awoke in Khazad-dûm, and many elves in Lindornand fled, including King Amroth, whose tale will be told in another video. Galadriel and Celeborn then became the Lord and Lady of the renamed Lothlorien. Galadriel now, after so long, had a realm to rule. Lothlorien would grow beautiful and strong, not only by the leadership of Galadriel and Celeborn, but also by Nenya's power. The shadow would not lessen, but was contained when the Watchful Peace began, a 400-year peace that ended when the shadow returned to Dol Guldur. That same year, 2463, the Second White Council was formed, with many wise elves and wizards being a part. Galadriel would recommend for Gandalf to be the leader of the council, for Galadriel believed Gandalf the wisest. Gandalf would refuse, and Saruman the White would become the leader. Galadriel would use her power to aid Gondor in their time of need. She provided a mist for the army of the Eotheod, protecting them from the shadow of Dol Guldur when they passed by Mirkwood, on their way to the battle of the fields of Celebrant. Tragedy would strike that same year, for Celebrian would be ambushed by orcs and tormented until she was saved by her sons, but the trauma she faced would not be healed, and so daughter was parted from mother and father. Years later, Gandalf would reveal to the White Council that Sauron was indeed the Shadow, and he urged attack, though Saruman countered this action, and no assault was made for almost a century. In 2941, the White Council acted and drove Sauron from Dol Guldur. Galadriel would welcome Aragorn, the son of Arathorn, in Lothlorien, for she perceived his destiny to be the one to rule over Gondor and Arnor. Galadriel would be at the last White Council meeting, where Saruman deceived the council into believing the One Ring lost forever. That would not be the case, and in the early winter of 3019, the Fellowship of the Ring entered into Lothlorien. Galadriel would learn of Gandalf's fall in Moria, and she would peer into the hearts of the Fellowship and test their wills. Galadriel would lead Frodo and Sam to the Mirror of Galadriel, where Sam saw the Shire in ruins and Frodo would see Sauron. Galadriel revealed that Lothlorien was kept safe due to Nenya. Frodo would then offer the One Ring to Galadriel, and she would be tempted. Quote, "I do not deny that my heart has greatly desired to ask what you offer, and now it comes. You will give me the ring freely. In place of the Dark Lord you will set up a queen, and I shall not be dark, but beautiful and terrible as the morning and the night." End quote. This was Galadriel's test, and she would deny the ring, in doing so, foregoing her pride and lust for power. So the Valar would lift the ban on Galadriel. The day the Fellowship departed, Galadriel gave the company gifts. Each member received lembas and cloaks to hide them. To Aragorn she gave the Elisar stone and a sheath for Andoril. To Boromir was given a golden belt. Merry and Pippin were given silver belts. Legolas a new bow. To Sam, Malorn seeds. And to Gimli she gave 3 strands of her hair, for the dwarf named her hair upon Galadriel's command. She gave 3 in reference to Feanor, and to show the purity in Gimli's heart, unlike her uncle. To Frodo she gave the light of Eärendil. Not long after the Fellowship departed, then the resurrected Gandalf arrived. Galadriel told Gandalf all that transpired before the wizard left to aid the Fellowship. During the War of the Ring, Lothlorien would be attacked 3 times, but each time the forces of Dol Guldur were repulsed. On March 25th, the One Ring was destroyed, and Sauron along with it. Galadriel and Celeborn led an assault upon Dol Guldur, and Galadriel would use her powers to throw down the walls, leaving the fortress bare. Galadriel and Celeborn would journey south to Gondor, and witness the wedding of Aragorn and Arwen. The 4 hobbits, Aragorn, Arwen, Gimli, Legolas, Gandalf, Elrond, Celeborn, and Galadriel, would part ways at Isengard. In the following days, they came upon Saruman the traitor, wandering like a beggar. Saruman would scoff at the company, quote, "And as for the lady here, I do not trust her. She has always hated me. I do not doubt that she has brought you this way to have the pleasure of gloating at my poverty." Saruman, we have other errands and other cares that seem to us more urgent than hunting for you. End quote. Not long after, Galadriel and Celeborn would depart for Lorien. Galadriel would remain in Middle-earth for 2 more years, till at last she took leave of Celeborn and on September 29, 3021, departed Middle-earth for Valinor. When 120 years had passed of the 4th Age, it is said Legolas took with him Gimli to Valinor to see Galadriel one more time. Galadriel and Celeborn would reunite once more when Celeborn took the last ship into the west. And so ends the legend of Galadriel. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, feel free to like and subscribe for more content. Please let me know how I can better improve these videos. Thanks, and as the elves say, Namarie.